All right. Good afternoon or good morning, good evening, good night. Let me go ahead and flip to my main screen. All right. Once again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. Welcome to virtual slash online learning. I am your host, Ian Wheeler. I'm a proud third grade teacher at Dutro Elementary School. This is the Newport News Public School Virtual Learning Plan Packet 6. I do believe this is our last 2-week packet, friends. Today's date is May 27th, 2020, or whenever you decide to work on your packet. I'm covering the information for May 27th, 2020, 2020, excuse me. I have day 3, which starts on page 6. This is our 10th week of online learning. If you are a third grader at Dutch Road, and that's probably why you're watching this video, you remember our class pledge, friends. Remember, say this pledge to yourself as a reminder that you are somebody and that you have important things to do with your life, friends. And despite what we may be going through here, friends, you are powerful and you are strong and you get better every day. And as always, friends, I have a picture of a puppy to brighten you up a little bit, even though this fellow looks kind of sad. All right, so let's go ahead and turn to our packet and look at what we are supposed to be doing today. All right, so if you don't have your packet, you can look along with me, or you can feel free to follow along your actual physical copy, sorry. All right, so for vocabulary today, if you were with me yesterday, I did day 2. Today I will be doing day 3. We also have some reading and writing to do. We have some area and perimeter work to do in math today, which I believe is relatively new. I know that we did not teach that during the school year, during our actual physical time in school. So I believe like some of this information may be new, but friends, I do believe this is one of the easiest things we learn in terms of math. And then we have some more science work to do in terms of natural disasters. And we're going to read about forest fires today. So let's go ahead, friends, and get back to that. I'm just messing around this computer. I'm so sorry. To day 3 of our context clues question set. So let me go here. If you wanted to do day 3, friends, one question is on page 18 and the next is on page 19. So please don't forget to do both questions. All right, so this is the context clues chart, which should be incredibly helpful in your understanding of the different types of context clues, friends. So I'm going to read over this information and hopefully it will help you to make sense of how you are finding these context clues. All right, so there are 3 different types. You either have synonym clues, example or restatement clues, or definition or direct description clues. For synonym clues, the meaning of the word can be determined by looking for words that have a similar meaning, a meaning that's almost the same, or similar. So, friends, the timid girl was shy but entered her new classroom hoping to make friends. Timid and shy have similar meanings. They refer to people who are kind of quiet and reserved. So yes, those words are synonyms, which means they mean something similar. We also have example or restatement clues. The meaning of the word can be determined by looking for words that give an example of what the word means. This type of hint is similar, not the same as though, to defining the word. So the little restaurant served hamburgers and fries just like McDonald's. Restaurant is our new word, friends, and just like McDonald's is an example of a restaurant that helps me to understand that a restaurant's a place that sells food. Hamburgers and fries are your food. All right, and then definition or direct description clues. The meaning of the word is given or explained in the sentence or paragraph. Friends are pretty much going to tell you what it means. The runner was exhausted or very tired after running the 3-mile race. So friends, exhausted and tired would be synonyms, but like exhausted literally means to be very tired. So that is a definition there. All right, let's go ahead and look at day 3. We have 2 questions. All right, so day 3, question 1. All right, remember, friends, try to read it on your own. Try to come up with an answer on your own before you just keep watching the video. So, stop the video and do it on your own if you can do so. If you can't, friends, please just keep watching the video. Number 1, Coco Chanel is a world famous fashion designer. Her garments, that's her new word, have been worn by people all over the world. So I need to understand what garment means. So friends, one of the things, and it didn't talk about it in the chart up here, but one of the things I like to do is try to replace um, the answer choices with the new word we learned and see if it makes any sense. Her clothing I would change it to has been worn by people all over the world. That makes sense. You wear clothes. Her cars have been worn by people all over the world. Friends, you can drive a car, you can get in a car, but you can't wear a car. So I think the answer that makes the most sense is clothing. Her clothing has been worn by people all over the world. When I replace that, this makes sense. So, friends, I want to be completely honest. Um, Discovering what kind of context clue this was hard for me. I chose example because I think like the Coco Chanel, like that fashion is an example of garment. Um, but friends, if you argue that garments and like fashion are like synonyms, kind of, that would like make sense to me too. But I thought it was an example type of context clue. If you feel that I am not correct, friends, please go prove your answer to someone at home, friends. And if y'all agree, Mr. Rita thinks that's great, and I am willing to entertain some different answers for that one. All right, second question. All right, number 2, scientists. Ooh, excuse me. Scientists believe they have found the gene that causes cancer. It starts as a small healthy cell, then mutates into a different kind of cell that causes disease. All right, so mutates is our new word here. All right, so I'm going to try and put my new words in, sorry, my answer choices into my blank where my new word is. It starts as a small healthy cell, then follows into a different kind of cell that causes disease. Um, well, it starts one way, then it follows into a different, kind of makes sense. It starts as a small healthy cell, then changes into a different kind of cell that causes disease. That honestly makes more sense to me. It starts off one way, then it changes into something different. So the best answer is B, changes. Mutate does mean to change. And here again, friends, I chose um example, but I'm not necessarily sure if that's the best answer choice myself. So I could be wrong, friends. Um, I'm thinking like a mutation. It's telling me that it's starting off one way and then it's ending up as something different. It starts as healthy and then it ends as something that causes disease, friends. So if you wanted to argue that like they give a definition for a mutation, I would also kind of be inclined to think that you are correct. Um, so, friends, talk about it, talk over it with somebody at home. And if you disagree with me, friends, that is great. That is okay. Um, However, whatever it takes for you, friends, to arrive at that right answer. And as long as you're thinking about it and having some good thought processes about it, and justifying your answers and making sure they make sense, friends, you're going to be okay. All right, so that is that portion of literacy or language arts, friends. For reading and writing, you are supposed to reread the text, the pool, which I believe is located on page 20. And then it says to think about what the conflict was in the story and how the characters responded. What message could we take from them? What does the author hope we realize? And then you are to complete the questions for the pool. So I think I'm going to start by rereading this passage. Friends, if I know you read it yesterday. If I am rereading it again, friends, you should also be rereading it again. If you remember what happens, friends, still reread it. You never know what kind of new information you might discover. And people have a tendency to forget things. It's also, friends, you may not have forgotten anything, but it's also good practice for like your fluency or like reading, like talking, to read something that you already know how to read. So please read it again, read it out loud, read it to somebody, friends. That's one of the major things you can do to get better at reading something out loud, and making sure that it makes sense to you as you read it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start reading The Pool by Gabrielle Sierra. Remember to pause the video if you want so that you can read it on your own. All right. Alex and Karen were sitting in their backyard on a hot summer day. All they wanted was to go swimming, but the local public pool was under construction and all of the adults were too busy to give them a ride. I just want to sit in the cool water, said Alex, imagining how nice it would feel. The two sat quietly as they thought about how else they could cool off. Let's blow up the kiddie pool that we have in the garage, suggested Karen. We can fill that with water and it will help us cool off. The two ran to the garage and found the inflatable pool stuck in a box. They dragged it to the lawn and looked at it. It needs to be blown up, said Karen. Alex sat down and started blowing air into the pool through the nozzle, but after a while, he realized it wasn't doing very much. He was exhausted and out of breath from all the blowing. The pool was too big for just one person to inflate, and at this rate, it would take Alex all night. He sat back, defeated. Okay, so how are we going to get it inflated then? He said. Karen thought it over. Alex went back to the garage and got a bicycle pump, but the ends didn't match up. Then Alex came back with an old vacuum, but that sucked air instead of pumping it. Karen thought and eventually realized something. Did we check the pool box and see if there's a pump at the bottom? She asked. They ran into the garage and tipped the box over. Out fell the pump. They laughed. That was a very good idea, said Alex as they went back to the yard and connected the pump to the pool. We are so excited to find the pool that we didn't gather all of the pieces first. Finally, the pool was blown up. But as Karen and Alex looked at it, they realized that it was slowly deflating. There must be a hole somewhere, said Karen. We'll have to find it. They each took a side and examined the pool, but couldn't find anything. The hole may be too small to see, said Alex. How can we find it if it's too small to see? Maybe we can feel it, suggested Karen. She traced her finger along the pool, only to find that she couldn't feel anything. I know, said Alex. Let's listen, and maybe we'll hear the air escaping. They placed their ears next to the pool and listened. Sure enough, Karen heard a soft sound as air escaped through a hole. I found it, she said. That was a good idea. The hole was too small to see, but we could hear it. Now we have to patch it. Alex ran into the house and grabbed a bunch of different things to try and patch the pool. First, he suggested glue, but that didn't seem to make much sense to Karen. It would have to dry, and they wouldn't be able to swim until it did. Then he suggested a Band-Aid, but that wouldn't stick around the hole. Last, he pulled out a roll of gray, heavy-duty tape. That should do it, said Karen, cutting a piece and placing it over the hole. They refilled the pool with air, and this time it stayed full. Now we have to fill the pool, said Alex. But how would they get the water into the pool? Karen suggested filling buckets up from the kitchen and carrying them outside. At first, this seemed to work, but they soon realized that it would take them forever to fill up the pool. Then Alex suggested filling it from the spout in the backyard. That makes a lot of sense, said Karen. Let's drag it over to the spout. They did, and Alex turned on the water. The pool was soon full. Alex and Karen went inside and put their bathing suits on. Then they ran back outside and sat in the pool. Well, we can't swim, but at least we found a way to stay cool, said Alex, and we worked together. All right, so let's go back to our notebook here. All right. Okay, so, oh my goodness, I'm supposed to cover up all of this stuff. Hopefully you didn't keep reading. Great, okay, all right. So friends, it says, think about what the conflict was in the story and how the characters responded. What message could we take away from them? What does the author hope we realize? So friends, when the author is asking you to think about a message or something that you've kind of learned in the story, or something that you kind of like realized that wasn't maybe explicitly stated in the text, friends, the author is kind of asking you to think about does anybody know? and if you already saw it, you probably know that we are trying to find a theme. So, friends, what is like our theme, or what is kind of like our moral? What lesson did we learn, and what message can we take away from how Alex and Karen responded to what was going on in the story? So, what I kind of thought of, what I thought the theme was, is perseverance or persistence, which are pretty much just fancy ways of saying don't quit and don't give up. All right, so let's keep going because our job is to now go and answer the questions. Let me keep scrolling down until I find my questions. All right, so question one, what is the first thing that needs to be done with the kiddie pool after it is taken out to the lawn? So friends, I implore you to go back to the story and find out what happened first. But if you read the answer choices, friends, logically, you can think about what's probably going to happen first. The kiddie pool needs to be filled with water. The kiddie pool needs to be filled with air. The kiddie pool needs to be deflated. The kiddie pool needs to be dragged over to the spout in the backyard. Friends, before you fill the pool with water, it's probably going to need some air. And why would you deflate it if you want to get in it, friends? So you need to think about those kinds of things, and also go back into your text and um, and find your actual answer. So let me go back to my text. All right. So, friends, once they have the pool, they found the inflatable pool stuck in a box, they dragged it to the lawn. The first thing they needed to do, friends, is it needed to be blown up. So, Mr. Really provided that evidence. And if you have like a paper copy of your packet, I think it would be advantageous for you to like highlight or underline, friends, and write like a number one next to that, because that's where we found our answer. All right, let's go to question two. All right, Alex and Karen want to cool off, but the local public pool is under construction and no adult has time to give them a ride to the beach. How do they solve their problem? A, they put on their bathing suits and sit in the garage. B, they fill up buckets with water in the kitchen. C, they imagine how nice the cool water would feel. D, they use the kiddie pool from the garage. So, friends, we're going to go back to our story. And here's our answer right here. They were in the beginning, at the beginning, friends, they wanted to go swimming, pools under construction, the adults were busy. They wanted to sit in the cool water. Let's blow up the kiddie pool that we have in the garage, suggested Karen. We can fill it with water and it will help us cool off. So I would underline or highlight this and put number two next to that, because that's where we found our answer for the second question. All right. Getting the kiddie pool ready takes a lot of work. What evidence from the story supports this statement? So, friends, maybe for this question, if you need to go back to the passage, you can. Um, but essentially, friends, all of the answer choices are going to be taken directly from the story. It's the evidence from the story, friends. If it doesn't match up, or if it's something that didn't happen in the story, friends, that's a good clue that that's probably not your the answer you want to choose. So I'm going to read over these, and friends, I want you to think about I want you to think about what actually happened in the story, and choose the best answer. All right, A, Alex and Karen have to figure out how to fill the pool with air, how to patch a leak in the pool, and how to get water into the pool. All of those things happen in the story. B, Alex and Karen want to go swimming, but the local pool is under construction, and the adults they know are too busy to take them to the beach. Though that happened has nothing to do with getting the kiddie pool ready. C, Alex and Karen go inside to put their bathing suits on and then run back outside to sit in the kiddie pool. That talks about Alex and Karen getting ready, not getting the pool ready. And D, Alex imagines how nice it would feel to sit in cool water before he and Karen decide to blow up the kiddie pool, being kept in the garage. It's a nice thought, but it really doesn't require any work. So, friends, I believe that the best answer is A, because they had to figure out how to fill the pool, how to patch a leak, and how to get water into the pool. That's a lot of work. All right. Number 4, how can Alex and Karen be described? A, Alex and Karen are people who do not like getting wet. Well, friends, we know that they want to get wet because it's what? It's hot outside. So I don't think that that is necessarily our best choice. B, Alex and Karen are people who often get bored. Maybe. C, Alex and Karen are people who do not care about finishing what they start. Well, friends, it took them a lot of hard work to get that pool filled up with air and water. So I don't think that's necessarily true. And D, Alex and Karen are people who do not give up easily. Um, Friends, if that was Mr. Wheeler, and I just would have went inside, I wouldn't have worried about trying to fill this pool. So I definitely think that Alex and Karen persevered a lot, and they didn't give up. So even though I thought B was like an okay answer choice, I think D makes the most sense when I go back and read about what happened in the story. All right, number 5. What is a theme of this story? So, like, what's the kind of lesson we learn, or what's like the message or central idea that the author wants us to take away? Okay, so A, if you want something that you cannot have, it is best to stop thinking about it. If you want to solve a problem, it is important to try different things and not give up. C, if you want to cool off on a hot summer day, you should find someone to take you to the beach. D, if you want to get along with people, you should never listen to their ideas. So, friends, you think about D, you know that that one kind of doesn't make any sense. If you want to get along with people, you shouldn't listen to their ideas. That really doesn't make any sense. So that's when you can kind of like automatically cross out. Um, and then for the others, friends, you can kind of like think about what happened in the story. Karen and Alex wanted to stay cool. They thought of a bunch of different ways to try to stay cool and to fill that kiddie pool up. And eventually they did, and they were cool, and they were cooler. So, friends, I think that B is the best answer. If you want to solve a problem, you have to try different things, and you can't give up. All right, number 6, friends. Read the following sentence. He was exhausted and out of breath from all the blowing. The pool was too big for just one person to inflate, and at this rate, it would take Alex all night. What does inflate mean in the sentence above? So, friends, like this is like a kind of like a context clue question. So, you can again like try to put the answer choices in here and see what makes sense. The pool was too big for just one person to break into pieces. What we want to break the pool into pieces if we want to get in it and swim. The pool was just too big for one person to hide under the ground. How are we going to get in the pool if it's hidden underground? The pool was just too big for one person to fill with air. We know we needed to fill it up so that we could get in it. The pool was just too big for one person to pour water on it. Well, that kind of makes sense, friends. So between like C and D, both those make sense. So you kind of have to think about what else the question is telling you. So he was exhausted and out of breath from all of the blowing. Friends, what do you blow out? You blow out air. So Mr. Wheeler thinks that the best answer choice is C. All right, number 7, choose the answer that best completes the sentence below. Karen and Alex have problems getting the pool ready. For example, they solve all of them. Previously, they solve all of them. Instead, they solve all of them. Or, but they solve all of them. So, friends, you kind of just have to think about what makes the most sense in the sentence. And I believe that D makes the most sense. But is a conjunction, so it conjoins these two parts of the sentence to make one long sentence that makes sense. All right, 8, 9, and 10 were our open-ended questions, so this was your opportunity to write. So I'm going to scroll down because I answered the questions here as well. I'm going to scroll down and find the answer. I start with number 8. So, friends, I hope, you know, like always, as you come up with your own answer, you kind of just use mine as a guide or maybe a way to check your own work. So number 8, what are the first 3 ways that Alex tries to fill the pool with air? He tries to inflate it using his breath, a bicycle pump, and a vacuum. Friends, fill the pool with air and inflate are like synonyms. They kind of mean the same thing. Well, actually, inflate is, sorry, fill the pool with airs, or fill with airs in a definition for inflate. All right. Number 9, how do Karen and Alex finally fill the pool with air? Karen remembers to check the box, and they find a pump in the box that they can use to inflate the pool. Friends, I took that directly from the passage. Number 10, are Karen and Alex good at solving problems? Explain why or why not using evidence from the story. Yes, Karen and Alex are very good at solving problems because they do not give up and they are willing to try many different things. Alex tried 3 different ways to fill the pool with air before he and Karen found one that worked. Alex and Karen also thought of many different things to patch the hole in the pool before they worked together to find a smart solution. They also think about their problems and the best way to solve them because they realized, you know what, I'm gonna change that. They also thought about their problems and the best way to solve them because they realized it was easier to move the pool to the water instead of moving water to the pool. So that was my answer for number 10. All right, so with that being said, friends, it took me a while to do these questions, to think about them. I know it seems like I'm going through them kind of quickly, friends, but before I talked about it with you guys, I actually did the work, friends, and it took me a while. So remember, please go through these questions carefully and cautiously, friends, because as always, you know what to do and you're smart enough to work through them and to do well. You just have to take your time. All right, so that is reading for today. For math, we are talking about something new. We're talking about area and perimeter. These are fancy words that we use typically to measure things. So, friends, perimeter, and if these terms need you, friends, I would be saying them, with Mr. The perimeter refers to the distance around the outside of an object. So when we look at this square here, we see that each of the lines that makes up the square are 4 inches long. So once you add 4 plus 4, that's 8. Plus 4 more is 12. 12 plus 4 is 16. So you add up the distance around an object to find the perimeter. Over here on this pentagon, which is a 5-sided polygon or shape, 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 2 more is 6, plus 2 more is 8, plus 2 more is 10. That's perimeter. It's just that simple. Friends, you add up the distance around the outside of an object. All right, and for area, it's the amount of square units that you use to fill up an object. So here in this square, this is a rectangle. In this rectangle, friends, we see 6 square units, and just count the squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Over here in this shape, it's not, a typical polygon. It has 9 squares, so the area is 9 square units. So friends, there's a little like song rap that we kind of say in 3rd grade to help us remember. Or I don't know, like a little rhyme, whatever. So it just goes, perimeter is the distance around the outside of a shape added up. Area is the inside, just count the squares. And when I was a 4th grade teacher, I changed just count the squares to just multiply, because usually when you're finding the area, you're going to be finding the area of a rectangle or a square. So you can just multiply, because oftentimes when you get to 4th grade next year, you will see shapes like this and they won't have the squares in them. So when it comes to finding the area of those shapes, friends, you just have to multiply the length of the sides. So let's go ahead and look at some examples I made very quickly. So friends, I kind of just want to talk about these shapes very quickly. I have an orange rectangle here and I have a pink rectangle here. Because the sides of a rectangle are parallel, that means this side will never touch this side and this side will never touch this side. Usually, well, actually, all rectangles have equal sides. So whatever the length is on this side, friends, it has to be the same on this side. Whatever the length is here, it needs to be the same here. Otherwise, you don't have a rectangle. You just have some other quadrilateral or four-sided shape. So friends, if the measure of this side of the rectangle is 6 centimeters, this side is also going to be 6 centimeters. If the measure of this side is 3 centimeters, then the measure here is also going to be 3 centimeters. All right, same thing over here, friends. If the length of this side is 12 feet, on its opposite side, it's also going to be 12 feet. And friends, if the length of this side is 2 feet, the length here is also going to be 2 feet. All right, so with that being said, I can find the perimeter and area very quickly. So remember, friends, perimeter is the distance around the outside of a shape, added up. So here, friends, I have 6 plus 3 plus 3, and it gave me 18 centimeters. And right here, friends, for this rectangle, like I don't have any units, friends. If I had units, I would count them up. But because I don't, friends, I take the length of one side and I take the length of the other. I'm not going to of the opposite sides, friends. So I wouldn't multiply. Sorry, I wouldn't multiply 12 times 12. I want to multiply 12 and then 2 to find my area. I'm not going to use the same length twice. So area is the inside. Just multiply or count the squares if you have squares. And 12 times 2 is 24. So friends, with area and with perimeter, it's very important that you have the unit of measurement. Here, I measure my rectangle in centimeters. So, and that's what cm stands for, I'm sorry. So I had to put cm behind 18. I can't just have 18 as my answer. And over here, I can't just have 24 feet. I can't just have 24, excuse me. I have to have 24 square feet. This little 2, friends, means like feet squared. And we'll talk more about that as you guys get into the older grades. But you need that 2 when you're finding area. So, or you can write it like this, 24 square feet or square units. So the packet gave you some examples that you can try on your own. They also gave you the answers, friends. So if you don't, I'm sorry if you were looking. So if you want to do them on your own, friends, I would recommend that you do so. But I'm going to go over this first one. So for area, area is the inside, literally the inside of the shape. So just count the squares. You can count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. All right, so just count the squares, I got 14. If you multiply, friends, 7 times 2 is also 14. So 14 square units of 14 centimeters squared. And then if you add up the distance around the outside, friends, the distance around the outside, you have to add 7. And this other side's also 7. So 7 plus 7, which gives you 14, plus 2 more, which is 16. This side is also going to be 2 centimeters. 16 plus 2 is 18. And here is the last example. Mr. Wheeler has for the area, if I count the squares, I'm going to count by fours. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. I have 24 square units, just counting the squares. If I multiply, friends, 6 times 4 is 24, 24 centimeters squared. And if I add up the distance around this rectangle, friends, if this side is 6, this other side is 6. 6 plus 6 is 12. If this side is 4, this other side is 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. 12 plus 8 is 20. So 20 centimeters. Remember, area, you need the little 2. Perimeter, you do not. All right, and then the last question, I believe you had to do something with a pool. Let's see, math. Okay, it says your task is to work with a family member to design a pool. If I could go back up and see. Yes, to design your own swimming pool. Talk with your family member about how to best label the sides and find the perimeter. What unit of measure would make most sense for a swimming pool's perimeter? Work together to draw the equal cubic units to calculate the area. You can also work together to color the pool and decorate the surroundings to make it look as realistic as you like. So friends, I do think it's a good idea to maybe like ask someone at home for some assistance here. Um, what was I going to say? I forgot. I'll show you my example. Oh, yes. If you have graph paper at home, which is like those papers, that paper with those little squares, that is a really helpful tool because you can just literally count the squares. If you don't have graph paper, friends, you got to multiply like Mr. Wheeler did. So this is my pool, very simple pool. I used feet to measure my pool, friends. I think it makes sense when you're calculating the length of something like a pool, friends, to use feet. Remember, like 1 foot is the same length as a ruler. So you wouldn't use something small like inches, friends, because you don't want your pool to be like 30 inches long. It's only like 2.5 feet. So excuse me. So my pool is 30 feet wide and 10 feet long. So this side is 30, this other side is 30. 30 plus 30 is 60. This side is 10, this other side is 10. 10 plus 10 is 20. So the perimeter around the outside of my pool, because perimeter is the distance around the outside of a shape, and I add it up, I have 80 feet. And area is the inside. So here I'm going to have to multiply 30 times 10. Friends, in 30 times 10, we see the simple problem 3 times 1. So friends, if you were in my class, you know, Miss really taught you to, if you see a 0 in your factors, which are your things you multiply together, you need to place zeros in your product. So 30 times 10, 3 times 1 is 3. I see a 0 here, I put it here. I see a 0 here, I put it here. Or you could count 30 tens. So you can count by tens 30 times so you get to 300. Or you could count by 10, sorry, you could count by 30 10 times. So 30, 60, 90. And friends, all I'm really doing is just counting by threes, but I'm counting 3 tens. So 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, 210, 240, 270, 300. So 300 square units or 300 square feet. That's it for math. The best way to work with perimeter and area, friends, is to just practice. Draw lots of squares, draw lots of rectangles, and see if you can find the perimeter and area of those as well. Make your picture a little bit more exciting than Mr. Wheeler's pool, please. All right, so that was math. And lastly, we had to focus on science. And yesterday we did earthquakes, I believe it was. Yes, it was earthquakes. So today we have, excuse me, forest fires. So you are supposed to write one way to describe how forest fires are harmful to the environment, and then draw a picture to show how, and then write one way to describe how forest fires are good for the environment, and then draw a picture to show how. Then you can share those sentences and pictures with a family member to communicate how forest fires can be harmful and helpful. I think that's super, super important, friends. After you write, go share it with somebody so that you can talk about, you know, what you read and to make sure that you didn't make any mistakes. And then there are some optional websites that you can go and visit. So friends, I did not follow all the instructions. I'm going to be completely honest. I forgot my pictures. I'm sorry. So friends, I think this is incredibly important for you guys though. Do not forget your pictures, and it's important that you visualize as you read. So once you write your sentences, make sure that you are drawing pictures and going that extra step, friends, because if you can draw it after you read it, that shows that you understand it. So forest fire starts on page 38. I am going to Go to page 38. We read about earthquakes yesterday. Don't need to read that part today. I mean, if you want to, friends, please feel free to do so. All right. And I believe the forest fire section was kind of short. Yep, it definitely was. Here we go. So forest fires. I'm going to read, friends. Try to read, as always, try to read before Mr. Wheeler. All right. Fire can dramatically change a natural environment. Many forest fires are caused by lightning. The fire destroys trees, brush, and plants. Animals in these habitats are killed or forced to move to nearby areas. The fires can pollute the air for animals and people to breathe. Fires in nature can also be helpful to the environment. Dead forest material is burned up. Plants with diseases and harmful pests are no longer a threat. The fire clears a path for new, healthier growth. All right, so friends, you were supposed to tell me one way, or tell your teacher one way that forest fires were harmful and one way that they were helpful. So this is what I wrote. You don't have to write the same thing that I did. As a matter of fact, I want you to say it in your own words if possible. All right. One way that forest fires are harmful is the damage they cause to animal habitats because fire destroys trees, brush, and plants. Animals can also die in fires as well. One way that forest fires are helpful is their ability to clean up and remove dead forest material. Plants with diseases and harmful pests no longer threaten the life and growth of healthy plants and animals. So that's what I wrote, friends. Um, think hard about what pictures might help you to understand what's going on here. And if you have your parents' permission, friends, maybe you guys do like a little bit of research, and maybe go Google some pictures that might help you to understand as well. So that is it for day 3. It has been great to work with you all today. Thank you so much for listening. It is an honor that you have watched this video. So thank you so much for your participation, and I will see you again later. Thank you very much for your time. Bye.